So in today's vlog, I will answer a question that is frequently asked to me. Does the Scrum Master becomes obsolete once the team is self-managed? Now, when I listen closely to the reason behind the question, quite often these people who ask me this question want to know the future or the career path of a Scrum Master in their company. I've also heard several people here on YouTube who made videos that advise Scrum Masters to make themselves obsolete once the team is self-managed. Whenever I hear people say that the Scrum Master's job is to make themselves obsolete, I feel uncomfortable. And in today's vlog, I will share with you my opinion why the statement that the Scrum Master's role is to make themselves obsolete once the team is self-managed is misleading. Alright folks, let's get to the first point. The goal of Scrum Masters is not to make people self-manage. Self-management is the default state of every human being on this planet, starting from when they were born. The Scrum Master's goal is not to get people back to the default state. The goal should be beyond the default state. When people are self-managed, that is what it should be. If we go back to history, it was Frederick Winslow Taylor who came up with the idea where workers needs to be managed. In his book, The Scientific Management, he wrote that workers are just intelligent gorillas. Therefore, having people self-manage should not be made as the success indicator of a Scrum Master. I'm really sorry to say this to you. And secondly, the Scrum Master service is not only at the team level. As you have read on Scrum Guide, they also need to serve the product owner. The product owner is also part of the Scrum team. If the developers are self-managed, check if the product owner still needs help in understanding Scrum. Check if the product owner is really the owner of the product, or perhaps they're just a proxy or a middle person between the stakeholders and the developers. When the product owner is really the owner of the product, it can amplify self-management in the Scrum team even further. A team is only the smallest entity in your company. A team does not work in isolation. Teams will need to interact with other people from other departments, and quite often those people might not yet understand how to work with Scrum, or they might even have misunderstanding that Scrum is an iterative mini waterfall. As written on Scrum Guide, besides the product owner and the developers, the Scrum Master also needs to serve the wider company. And oftentimes, to elevate the product owner to become the true owner of the product, it requires the Scrum Master to mentor people in the company, including the senior management, about the accountability of the product owner. Go check out my video on the 8 Scrum Master hats to know the other 7 hats that the Scrum Master needs to wear as a true leader who serves. Thirdly, as we have learned from my previous video, Scrum Master is not a job title, it's an accountability. The Scrum Master could have other job titles in the company, such as Vice President of Engineering or Delivery Manager. And when the Scrum team is self-managed, the product owner is respected by everyone in the company. At that point, the Scrum Master can have more time at the strategic level to scale out agility in the company even further. And fourthly, assuming that the team will always be self-managed, interestingly, is a fallacy. People's behavior is not always linear and not always consistent. It would be great if people never change, but it's also not realistic. Realistically, life changes. Motivation may degrade. Preferences may change. Dreams and aspirations may change. And interestingly, this can happen to the Scrum Master themselves also. And on top of that, the team composition may change. Maybe because people come in and out of the team. A team member may get promoted or the team member may resign from the company. And this whole dynamic in the team composition may make self-management to become weaker. Not only does the Scrum team composition may change, the senior leadership team composition may also change. The CEO who sponsored Scrum to happen in the company may be replaced by another CEO who does not believe in Scrum and scraps Scrum out. And at that point, self-management may be destroyed to the ground, and the Scrum Master may need to build everything from the ground up again. Companies are always in a constant flux. Even self-management is not always consistent. The Scrum Master oftentimes needs to manage the polarity and the flux that happens in the company. And my last point here is, Scrum Master, as described in Scrum Guide, is a true leader who serves. Even if the team is self-managed, the presence of a serving leader should not be made obsolete. Regardless of the job title of the Scrum Master, regardless if they're not even called the Scrum Master, I personally think that every company needs more serving leaders, not less. The end goal of using Scrum is not to have self-managing teams. In fact, the end goal is not even about agile. There are many companies in the market who are agile but yet not thriving and no longer exist in the market. The end goal is to continuously sustain and become competitive and generate value in the market. At the end of the day, Scrum is just one of the tools for the company to generate and increase business values. This requires the company to keep on challenging the current state of the art. As a true leader who serves, the Scrum Master can be the one who keeps on challenging the current state of the art in the company. That is all for today's vlog, everybody. Hopefully that gives you a new perspective about the goal that the Scrum Master needs to pursue. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more content specifically targeted towards Scrum Masters. I will see you in my next video, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm fading to black now.